movie guy. I just saw Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, and I must say it was an incredible movie. I don't normally say like like a lot of movies I give tens, but this is the most recent 10 movie I saw. It gets a gold star. It gets 5 out of 5, and what I really liked about it is that it was like a real it was a real Star Wars movie. It wasn't just like, oh, it's a Disney movie. It made up for the previous Star Wars movies. There was a question, I like, spoiler, at the end there was the ghost. You see the ghost? I like how they utilize the concept of the ghost again, and how it's very integral for the Jedi religion, for the Jedi belief, and the way the Force works, and that they can actually get involved in regards to the Force. I really like that. And I like how they set up future. They set it up for future films. Someone recently said they set up the thing for the system. The way it ended, it sets you up for an infinite amount of films, and I agree with that. It definitely does that. I was so happy towards the end, back and forth, and there was a moment between the two Jedi, the last remaining Jedi, where they just looked at each other, because basically the one of the themes was sacrifice. Themes of this particular particular movie was sacrifice. That they're sacrificing themselves in order to save the other person with a little bit of life force energy. So at the end, Ben, who's going rogue, and he goes by he goes by, forgot his name already, the darker name that Kylan Ren, um, he ends up giving the rest of his life force, but we don't know that he's gonna die. He stares into Rey's eyes, and she's like, Ben. And then an interesting moment happens. They kiss, but then he dies. But he didn't die in a classic sense. He died the way great Jedi die, masterful Jedi. That symbolizes that they have turned into a ghost, meaning they've joined the Force. That's what it symbolizes. And you see this in the end of the sixth movie with Darth Vader turning back into Luke Skywalker, or his regular face, and it's a sign that he's joined the Force, and he's joined the good Force, and he's like helping out behind the scenes in the positive realms. So that's what it symbolizes. But what was interesting was that he does not, when she goes back to her home planet to bury the two lightsabers, she doesn't see Ben. So my question was why. Um, we know that the Jedi end up, from this movie, the souls of the Jedi end up going into the last remaining Jedi, or who would consider be the leader of the Jedi, you know, um, and we know that that could be more than one person, because the Sith absorbed uh, both Ben's and Rey's energy equally, and that's what restored all of his power. So we know that they were together. So it's not like one person rules, but it generally works out that one person ends up ruling. The One of the concepts that's found in this movie is that there's always sacrifice, and that's why there usually is one person ruling, because in order for one to rule, someone has to perish. Unfortunately, that's how it usually plays out. It doesn't mean it can happen that you can have two equals, but what generally happens is two people are so selfless that one is willing enough to give his own or her own honor and life in order for it to go to someone else, and that's what makes them honorable and righteous. So that was found in this movie. That's what I'm saying, is that it brought back the true Star Wars touch and element. I got the feeling that I got when I saw this was similar to Harry Potter. It's very uplifted when I watch Harry Potter. Just, there was sometimes like when they went to the Sith underground. Obviously, it's all spoilers. Don't listen to this if you don't want to give it away. Um, you felt a little bit of the Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets in there, and there was there was also a little bit of the action-packed sound of Indiana Jones was found in there. So they really took a lot of great elements from elsewhere, or at least they factored in some of that stuff subconsciously, if not consciously, that made it so incredible. Now, I don't know what the public has voted in regard to this weird traffic stuff going on. I don't know what the public has voted in regard to this movie. I didn't look at it, but I give it a straight up 10 out of 10. Like, legit. Like, if I had to be reasonable and the whole world was watching, I'd have to say it was like a 97. It was like a 97%, which I'm rounding up to 100% or 10. And like out of 5, it'll be like 4.9, about 4.9. You know, um, it just there's very few imperfections, and it was such a great movie that it actually redeems the previous two movies. Um, it redeemed, meaning it made, even though the first two people didn't like as much, this makes it all the worthwhile. This makes it all the more interesting and enjoyable to go through again. Sometimes when you know the ending and you know how it ended, you know what you're looking into. Even though there's all the travails and the difficulties and all the things that bother you at first about the movie, the fact that the ending was good, it makes the entire trilogy, it caps the entire trilogy to be amazing. Which is ironic because the trilogy, the Return of the King and Matrix Revolutions, people like the least, I believe, for whatever reason. Some might suggest it's because they already got introduced, so they had high expectations. But or you can say that the directors are trying to get over with. But with this, you see like a climax. You see that this movie was everything was leading up to this movie. That's the sense you get. There is a very back and forth style. So, for example, the back part of the back and forth style is that I don't know what's going on the street. For some reason, so many things happening here. Like, why is there traffic? There shouldn't be traffic. Um, the style was very back and forth. Like, first he's good, then he's thinking about being good, then he wants to be bad again. So that might be a bit fast paced for some people. But two elderly people sat next to me in the movie theater and they loved it. So I know it's not limited to the new generation. I think that this one all Star Wars fans would appreciate and put it up there as like a legit Star Wars film. This, you can say it's like a Star Wars film for the modern era. That's what you can say it was. Now there was something at the end where basically Rey gets a new lightsaber. I think Leia left it for her, right? Leia left it for her. You don't know what it is. You just know it looks cool. I think that's what it was. And then at the end, you see the color of the lightsaber is yellow. It's this like golden, representing light, the force of light. Blue is one of the representative colors of the force, but that's just how it happened because the crystals are generally bluish white, so they probably chose blue for that reason. But light is more of the on the religious spectrum in the Jedi world. Like, if you want to get into the religion behind the Jedi world, light would be the force that we're pointing towards, but we're not touching. So when you see the lightsaber, you had a lightsaber. When you see the light colored lightsaber, it's like putting everything together. Um, you know, and one of the I also like that. I'm pretty sure the directors wanted to revamp the whole film because they thought it sucked, and then like a couple months later, it's out. But if this is pretty much how it was when they decided that, I don't know what they were thinking. But maybe they changed it up to look like this, and that's what made it so great. Um, what I loved about this, so towards the, what I loved about the whole talk about the Sith is that you never know, you don't know what a Sith is. Where is he from? How does the system work? Why do they kill each other? So this gives a little bit behind the lore of why the Sith kill each other. The Sith kill each other, yes, because they want power, but that's also part of the dogma. That if you kill, it's a sign that you have anger in your heart, and the point of, and when you kill, you are in effect strengthening that anger in yourself, so that the spirit of the Sith that you kill goes into you. So that was like very perplexing. That deserves like a video of its own, but I probably won't talk about it in the future since where am I going to talk about this? But maybe in another Star Trek film. But I would say that she did kill him in the end using the force of good. She said, "I am all Jedi," meaning if the intention is to kill as a Jedi, then it's okay. But interestingly enough, she doesn't kill with the lightsaber. She kills with his own power. And that's actually a lesson in spirituality that, what's the biggest enemy? The biggest enemy is actually the biggest enemy is actually your own negativity. That's the only way that you can die, is if you have negativity. Like, people are always blaming, oh, that person cut me off, and this person's a bad person, and that person's a terrorist, and that person's evil, has an evil mind, that person has a bad religion, that person has a weird belief system, that person does weird things. That's all externalized things that you're pointing at, but it's not really the external that's important. It's how it makes you feel, and therefore how the disturbances in your body produce more negative energy. And so what this lesson is saying is that, yes, a Jedi can't kill the Sith, but he can kill the Sith with his own power. And according to that logic, the only way to be able to kill the Sith Lord, is with um, a deflection, and not the actual lightsaber. For a moment there, I thought that Rey was going to pull the move that um, Anakin did on Count Dooku, where he chopped his head off, and he said, "Do it," and he listened. Um, and in the end, she doesn't do that, but she uses the cross lightsaber technique to deflect it and kill him. So what brought the negative Skywalkers to power was a similar technique to bring down the Sith Lord that was the cause of the Skywalkers' terrible name. Um, and hence this movie is called The Rise of Skywalker, because she rose from the dead, she rose from the depths, the tarnished name of the Skywalkers, and she became something amazing. And she has a white lightsaber now, given to her by Leia. So Leia might have produced this. It might have been an heirloom, it's passed down for generations, or she produced this special for her. Or maybe it was a gift. So there's a lot of questions unanswered that are worth looking into. I'm going to try to stick to confirmed information, because I always hear a lot of theory, and then that could throw me off when the movie finally comes out. So I'm just sticking to the facts. I think everything I said in here was factual about this movie. Um, and I don't know if I don't know if Rey and and Ben were brother and sister. It's not clear. It's pretty much implied or explicit. It's hard to yeah. It's pretty much a given that they're both related to Palpatine. But originally, we were given the impression that they're related to Skywalker. They're related to Luke Skywalker. Um, but yeah, so I have to do research on that. But that would be interesting, considering that they do kiss at the end. Um, but Star Wars has a history of doing that with brother and sister. They like to do that, and to make us like question what the heck is going on here. And then but then he disappears, so it kind of nullifies any questions you have immediately, because he's dead anyway, so it could be like a goodbye kiss. So it was very, very interesting. But it was just a fabulous movie. Oh, and I love the way when the Sith Lord I love the reason why I love the lore about the Sith Lord is because you understand what they're all about. They're all about this belief system, like the Jedi, that the spirit gets sustained. The way the spirit gets sustained with the Sith is through negativity, and the way the spirit gets sustained through the Jedi is simply through light and peace, just being one with the Force. But the negative side, the Siths don't emphasize being one. They just emphasize the body, power, and therefore they need a body. They need they need um they need sacrifices, right? So sacrifice is not bad. It's one of the themes in the movie. But the way they go about sacrifice is that they require yeah, it's pretty weird because the Sith was willing to be struck down on the fact because his spirit will go into her and then he'll be revived. But the Jedi, they're willing to sacrifice themselves because their spirit goes into the all, into the light. See this light right here? It goes into the light, and they're able to help people on a supernal level. That's a very spiritual and kabbalistic concept as well. I think I covered everything. There's a lot of like skeleton heads or like statue heads. It was hard to tell if if the previous Siths were real. They were definitely real in Palpatine, and Palpatine was reviving them with his intent. Um, but the concept of the all being one is a very spiritual concept. The all and the one are one. Um, and the triumph of good over evil was so satisfying. Excellent, excellent. I think that covers it. Have a great day.